Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. I'm super excited to be here with you all because today we have a special stream. I'm currently in Japan right now. We're working on something really exciting for you guys here in the community, so stay tuned for that. There's going to be a ton of new content for you guys to enjoy. A lot of things that I personally learned from some recent happenings in my life that has given me a lot of insights and very life-changing kind of ideas that hopefully I can share with you guys real soon. But in the meantime, one of the biggest things that I learned in the past few months was this idea of how to include vision boarding into our life. And I really want to thank, some special people in my life that has helped me through this process. I think wonderful to our community member, Kelly, who brought up it in the first place. She told us about, the whole idea of vision boarding, how she uses it in her life. And to be honest, I've been someone that's always been very skeptical of vision boarding, like if I have a specific vision of the exact house I want in the future, the exact, wife perhaps, or the exact car, or the exact, I don't know, porch. Like, I think if you have so many specific, ideas of what your future is going to look like, you might have the opportunity to be really sad when you don't get those things, right? Because you have such a specific vision for all of them. So I've always wanted to be more vague about the goals. I want to be fit, right? I want to be, I want to live a better life. I want to be smarter. I want to be stronger. So many different things. And I let the key results normally help me indicate my milestones towards that. If I want to say I want to get fit, then I'm going to try to, reduce a certain amount of pounds, get a certain amount of muscle, body fat index, body mass index, get a certain amount of, muscle in different parts of my body, etc., etc. And I kind of use that as my guide to life, really. But something that really clicked for me recently when Kelly shared this thing called Dreamlining by Tim Ferris was that you're not necessarily choosing a specific vision of what you want in the future, right? If you do vision board, it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to say, I want this exact red car, this model, this kind of thing. That's a bit too much. But what you could do is you could break up, your vision into three things, right? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? And then what do you want to do? And depending on which ones motivate you the most, you should focus on that. And there's a bit of a framework there that I'd love to share with you guys today. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, and I'll show you why this is so exciting to me, because I think this is for the first time going to transform the way I think about life from a more of a, I guess, this will help you actually if you draw motivation from different sources. Let's just say that, right? If you're the type that draws inspiration and motivation from, hey, I want these things, I don't think this is my I'm not living my best life right now, and I want to know exactly where and how I can get closer towards living my best life. If you want that kind of clarity, this stream is for you, because this is the thing that's helped me solve. Whereas if you follow, the traditional like goal setting methods, key results, projects even, you're going to get really good actionable steps towards that, the goals that you want, but you may not get the motivation to continuously work on your goals. So this is where I think this really, really changes and moves the needle. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. So as always, when we're doing these live streams, we really, really like to be able to plan out exactly why we're doing this, what we're doing this, and how it's going to change us, right? Or how we're going to go about and accomplish this. So the main idea is that we're currently using fears and goals to drive us, but what about what we want in life, right? How do we influence ourselves with, these are the things that we think are the things that we really want, right? And kind of understand how close we are towards getting there instead of just having a fear, which basically is going to just remind you that it's scary and you might not want to go do it, and your goals, which are vague and you might not exactly know when and where you get there, right? So the vision board is, one of the main ideas that we're going to be implementing here today. And also we have another one, I don't know what he's going to call this, right? But Ali Abdal also has a really amazing video recently that's, business coaching video, which also talks about identities, right? So how do you create the identity, the ideal identity that you want in your life? How do you create that? Then you can walk towards pursuing that. So if you think about it, like, goals, so fears is like the thing that scares you from doing something. Goals is like the general vague idea of, why you want things. But then the vision board, what we're going to create is the specific like direction which we're going to direct our ship towards and keep sailing towards. And because we know that that's our like North Star, this is where we want to go, it's going to give us a really, really good idea of how we're going to get there as we keep on doing things every day towards that goal. And what's also really interesting is that we're also going to be able to integrate it into our calendar. And I want to show you how that one works real soon as well. So let me show you. So the how we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about a vision board template. We're going to create that specifically with the following. So we want to know, the vision that we have, type of vision. So we're going to talk about being, having, doing, and then we're going to talk about the costs related to that. So we're going to talk about what can we do today to move towards. So steps today, steps tomorrow, and then steps a few days later. Okay, and I'll explain all these really soon. But also we're going to talk about how integrating it into my calendar and blocking time. So I think that's something really, really important as well. And as always, if you have so many questions, feel free to ask inside the chat. I think this is going to be a really, really amazing stream. I think there's so much to learn here, and I'm really, really excited to see how we all learn together from this process. So just excited to see how we can get started. So I'm actually going to be a bit vulnerable here, and I'm going to share with you my vision board for the future. I think this is something that I'm more than happy to keep open as well, and hopefully help other people, one, by giving them motivation that this is something that is reasonable to chase after, but also as accountability, because I want to make sure that this is something that everyone knows that this is what I'm chasing after. And therefore, hopefully if people want to help, they can help me on that journey. If they want to watch, they can watch that journey. And if they want to just be there, supporting on the sidelines, that's also okay. I just want to make sure that, the people that I care about in my life know where I'm going and, why I want to get there. I think that's super important as well. So basically, you guys can just start with like a gallery view of a Notion database. And by the way, you can do this anywhere. You can do this on paper. You can do this on, digitally, right? You can do this in Notion, in Airtable, whatever tool you might want. But for me specifically, I chose the tool for Notion because I thought that it would be amazing to include this as part of our Be Intentional series template, because this is all about being intentional, or even just taking life control, right? How do we, really make sure that we are making the best use of our life, taking control of the things that we can, and just letting go of things that we cannot. So this is a bit of the ideas of what I have. And you'll notice that each one of these has a different type. So I created these properties. I just want to show you the properties. So, if you guys want, you can create these properties yourself. It's actually not too difficult of a template, but it's really how you put it together and how you utilize it that makes all the difference. But, just for you guys to see right now on the top of mind, these are all the different properties that are important and useful in this vision board. And what I want to show you is that we have this property called type, and the type is you have three types. You have being, having, and doing. Let me explain each one. So let's first go with the misconception, right? So I've always been misconceiving that a vision board is all about having. It's all about the things I want to have, right? It's all about, the car, the dog, the wife, the life, everything, right? Those are the things that I want in my life, those are the things I want to have. And I always thought, and that was the one that I always thought was, unnecessary, right? I thought it will just make you sad, right? What if you don't get the exact thing that you're expecting that your future self will get? Like, what do you do then? So what really inspired me here is that we are adding three different indicators or differentiators, let's say, between the different types of visions that you have. One is being. Who do you want to be in the future, right? And this is very subjective. You can put like identity that you aspire to be, like a role model. You can put, either a fictional or a non-fictional character. But the idea is that you want someone or someone to aspire to, right? And it could even be just a definition or a description of something that you want. So for example, for me, my description is I want to help people level up. That's the type of person I want to be. And the values of that person is someone that's empowering. I can stimulate a group to work excitedly together. I'm systematic. I can be able to draw the best of every talent through systems. And I'm compassionate and create a supportive environment with clear expectations, communication of expectations. So you can see that's like something that helps me really easily define that. And it's only by being this certain person, right? And only by being, so I help people level up. I'm a leader of a 1 million plus community. So basically reaching 1 million people like me that care about co-creating, collaborating, leveling up every day through knowledge, action, community, and creating positive impact in the world. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? Just something I think about. And then if I be those things, then I can have, a core team that I can trust, right? I can have a core team that, we're able to work together and, have shared values, complementary skill sets, complementary output, and build, really cool stuff together. And then once I have that, then I can do stuff, right? I can impact 1 billion people. Now, I'm not saying specifically these are things that need to be done in order, right? I believe all these can be worked in parallel. I believe all of them, are going to be worked at different times as well. But the idea here is that what we're able to do with this framework is that we know that, hey, as long as we keep aspiring to be this person, we have the balance to understand that because we are this person, we're going to attract certain types of things to our lives. So we're going to have certain things. And once we have certain things, we can use those as resources to do certain things. So I think that is like really the really important, crisp note I want to share with you guys, that this is the thing that moves the needle for me the most. I was like, how do I change myself, right? To be my best self, to then attract the things I want, to then use those as resources to do the things that I need to do, right? And I want to do. So if you want, I can actually write this down in here for you guys, because I think it's really powerful, right? Be your best self to then attract the life that you want, to then use as resources to do the things that you need to do. Right? Simple, and but a very powerful idea here. Now, the next thing is just to open up a bit more, right? So, for example, lifestyle, right? I want to have a smart and organized life, right? So everything has a place. My home is smart and responsive. I love having smart home gear. I'm a huge nerd on that. Maybe I'll talk about that on the channel sometime. But I'm a huge nerd for that. And then by being that, hopefully I can have houses in every major country. Hopefully I can have a personal assistant like Alfred, right? So you can see I'm already using things like, how can I use a, something fictional, I guess, but like something that I can easily relate to, that I can immediately understand. Alfred is a assistant that is resourceful and skilled, trustworthy and loyal, calm under pressure. These are things that are very, very specific and things I can easily align to and say, hey, if I'm ever interviewing for a new personal assistant, or if I'm working with someone, I can think about, are these things matching or not? And this is my ideal. And if not, then we work towards that. We train, we teach, or we, find a way to work together or work with other people that might have these skill sets. Another one that's really important to me is like, mindset, understanding myself, right? If I can understand myself, so if I'm, stoic, spiritual, if I'm in tune with my emotions, if I'm clear on what makes me happy, if I'm confident, I'm not concerned about what's happening around me, then I can finally love myself, right? I can, take action on things I need and want instead of waiting for other people. I can remove myself from situations where I don't feel good. And I can do something for myself whenever I feel unhappy, right? So the idea here is that how do you empower yourself, right? To really be your best self, be the things that you want. And by the way, this can evolve, right? No one's saying that this is static, but this definitely sets a really good framework for you to know how to get started in your life, how to get started to, really move forward on wherever you need to go, wherever you think you want to go, and then fine tune from there. And that's not even the end of it, right? So I had a lot of fun, just planning this out initially, and, putting out like even health, right? Being extremely fit. What does that even mean? Well, doesn't get tired easily, can go the distance, strong and muscular, flexible and mobile. And then from then, I want to be able to do a superhuman feat. And then from there, I want to be a martial artist, right? I want to have, I want to be a martial artist, right? So I want to know a martial arts all the way to black belts, right? So there's already a set specific thing. Be able to take care of myself in self-defense, right? So this is something that I think would be amazing. And then now I want to add an image, right? What image speaks to you, right, when you think about this thing? So for me, a martial artist, what do I imagine as like a very adept martial artist? Well, definitely someone like Bruce Lee, right? So I might go ahead and I might go and say image, and then I'm going to say splash, say Bruce Lee, if there's any images on Bruce Lee here. Let's see, there is a little bit, right? So I'm going to put this here for now. But again, the idea is that you want to really just be able to continuously put these ideas into your mind. It's like, hey, these are the things I want. So great, now you know, right? So then what do you do next? So you say, hey, we switch to like this view where we can see everything in one go, and we say, what's the cost that it costs for us to achieve this vision, right? What is it a daily cost? Is it a monthly, weekly, one-time cost? Like, what is it specifically that's going to help us get there? And this is going to be the important thing here now, where I've shown you that, you know, I've laid everything out for me. I want you to try laying it out for yourself, right? Think about it. If you had to split and spread yourself across all different areas of your life, right? Career, lifestyle, mindset, health, sharing, whatever it might be for you. For me, these are my specific areas of life that I care a lot about and care deeply about. But in there, right, what are the true values that you have? And you can pause, by the way, and you can have me in the background while you do this. But the idea is that then you got to figure out what is the cost type. What does it take for you to get there? And I'm going to show you some that I already filled out, but I'm also going to fill out more of them in front of you guys so that you can hear really my full thought process on how this works. And then once I figure out the cost, then I figure out the daily quest, right? And after I figure out the daily quest, I say steps now, steps tomorrow, steps days later, right? We can go ahead and see what exactly is going to help us move towards there and really move the needle. So I'm actually going to do this from a more perhaps individual perspective. Let's see what I can do. Yeah, let me just go through each one by one, and then ideally at the end of this live stream, I'll be able to kind of map out everything for you guys in my life, and hopefully that will give you a great foundation and framework to map out what you want in your life. And before we get too deep in it, remember, drink some water, stay hydrated, and we'll get back into it within a few seconds. All right. So let's get started. So for me, I like to go like maybe with some things that are easier and more straightforward first. So for example, if I want to be extremely fit, what does it take for me, right? So the cost is every single day, I might do 1 hour exercise. That makes sense, right? And then I'm gonna have a daily quest here that I'm gonna do. So this is one of my actions. So one thing that I want to teach here as well right now is like, what is the difference between a daily quest action and a steps now, steps tomorrow, steps days later action? So a daily quest is kind of involving our, cost type, right? Because your costs are going to be something that you're going to have to figure out, especially if it's something that is on a recurring basis. If it's one time, then it belongs into the one-time actions, right? But for costs that have like a recurring cycle to it, where they're monthly, weekly, or daily, it's really important to figure out what your daily quest is, or your recurring quest. At least you don't have to call it daily quest, but it's a recurring quest. And the idea is that you want to make sure that you're scheduling these things into your life in a actual meaningful way. So I used to do something that I thought was pretty silly. I used to put my calendar some of my core loops. There's an amazing video on this that I made around 2 years ago actually, that talks about how I have core loops that kind of govern what should I do at different times in my life. If I'm in the morning, how should I be preparing for my day? If I'm in the evening, how should I be winding down my day? And I thought that was fantastic, right? But why I say it's a bit silly now is that I simply had those on my calendar. I didn't intentionally schedule new time every single day to meaningfully pursue those things. So what's important for me now is to show you guys like how we're actually going to integrate this into our life, into our calendar, so that we don't just talk about things and actually make sure that things move forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my calendar at the same time to really show you, what the difference is, I think. And I think it's super important for us to kind of show that. I'm gonna go ahead and show that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show this. I'm gonna move this over here, and I am going to go ahead and share my screen as well. So I just want to show them side by side so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here, because I do think it's so important, and I want to make sure that this is something that everyone can appreciate and probably understand a bit better. So let's go ahead and change this. So I want to, Okay, it's a bit tough for me to change it like that. Okay, I'm just gonna change it step by step. So you guys can see my screen. So the idea is that I have my daily calendar. I'm using a tool called Motion right now, but it doesn't really matter. You can use Google Calendar, whatever it is. But right now, what I like to do is I have all my core loops, right, shown on the side. So these are all my core loops. I want to sleep at a certain time. I want to wake up at a certain time. I want to do my review cycles at a certain time. I want to eat lunch at a certain time, you know, etc., etc. That is my weekend schedule, but I can also go to my weekday schedule as well. So my idea is that every single day, I already have a kind of idea of how my ideal day is going to go. But where I am specifically targeting that people are missing is that, yes, just because you have an exercise block there doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. What kind of exercise are you going to do this day, right? So specifically on Monday, what exercise will I do? And I should write that out. I should actually plan that. So similarly, today's my Saturday, right? I'm currently in an Asian time zone. I wanted to exercise at 6 to 7. What does that mean? What does it actually mean? What kind of exercise do I want to do? Do I want to do a walk? Do I want to do a bicycle? So I'm actually going to go figure out, okay, so I'm going to probably want to, bicycle, right? So let's figure out this, and we can also improve it later, but like cycle, right? Around Tokyo, right? So I want to, explore the area a bit. So that's something I'm going to do. So that's a specific exercise I'm going to do today, right? So I don't just keep it vague. Same thing with review cycles, right? I say I'm going to do review cycles. Am I actually going to do it right now after the stream, or am I going to do it after lunch? Maybe I'll do it after lunch. So after lunch, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do review cycles here. So I'm going to do review cycles. So now I'm actually intentionally scheduling it into my day. And what's important though is that you should still have a blocked out for yourself so that you know specifically, hey, I have, these, exercise blocks every single day. That's going to be last an hour, and that's what I'm going to do. But specifically, you should really be planning out the exact intentional thing you're going to do every single day that's going to move the needle for you, that's going to actually help you, progress towards where you want to go. And then over time, you can see like, hey, yes, this is something that I want to do that's going to get me closer to becoming a martial artist, for example, right? That's something on my vision board. So should I just be cycling? No, I should be probably looking for classes, right? That's going to specifically teach me a skill related to these things that I want. So it's very, very important for you to like have that kind of idea in, perhaps how you might want to move everything out. But again, that's for me what a daily quest looks like. You want to figure out, hey, what is the specific blocking you're going to do? But then every single day, you should still be planning your day, in regards to your ideal week. Sometimes your day may not be ideal, right? Things happen. That's okay. But the main idea is that because things are happening, you're keeping a live track and a proper accounting, so to speak, of what you're doing with your time and how you're going to use it. And so you can, kind of get rid of some of the procrastination that might end up seeping into your life. I know it happens to me and it happens to the best of us, right? Another community member, Christian, posted this amazing thing about urge surfing. If you don't know what that is, go check it out. It's amazing, right? How do you not let your urges take over and, end up doing things that are not productive towards what you want in your life? You can find that also in our community at our .x3family.family. So just a lot of amazing insights from the community that's helped us really drive a lot of this, learning and growth, which I really appreciate. But anyways, so what we have then is our daily quest is our exercise block. Then we have steps now, we have steps tomorrow, we have steps later. These are the things that are going to help us, move the needle on this. So right now, our steps now is we want to figure out what our exercise and diet habits are, rules and methods to follow, schedule into our calendar, right? So also for lunch, right? What kind of lunch do you want to eat on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays? I don't know, right? Maybe you want to eat vegan certain days. Maybe you want to eat high protein certain days. It doesn't really matter. Specifically, it's just what works for you, and do that research and get that done. Steps tomorrow, create milestone goals, right? How are you going to get there? What does strong muscular mean? What is the next step to being, strong and muscular, right? How much more muscle do you need to add on, etc. And then finally, like, how do you test yourself, right? How do you sign up for evaluations, marathon events to work towards? So I think that's something that I work towards very much. So that's kind of the process. Now I'm going to start, working through them, and just talking out loud about my process. Maybe less of a presenting style, more just like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, this is where I'm going to go. And there's a few here that I don't even like have a very clear idea on exactly how to tackle, because I think they're hard. They're not easy problems to solve. And I think that's something that I think will be amazing for us to work together as well. So, okay, awesome. So let's go mindset now, understand myself. So what is my daily quest? Well, my daily quest is, schedule reflection time. into my day, right? So that's important. And then actually doing it, right? So then I say, hey, this is my journaling time, this is when I'm going to journal. My steps now: analyze the list of things that made you happy, frustrated in the last 3 months. That makes perfect sense to me. Perhaps try to use make work fun to help here. Incorporate the identified things that makes me happy in the schedule to get more of it. And then the things that you have identified that frustrate you are the ways you can reframe them, right? That makes sense to me. And then the steps days later, I think then is, you know, review and see what has changed in your life. I think that's something that's super important. So I think the steps, like I've actually figured out a pattern is that like this is more like research, right? This is more like do. So steps more is do, and then steps days later is like figure out like what changed or like has something changed. So maybe I can even add that in this property. So steps now research, right? And then steps tomorrow is more like action. And then steps day later is more like review. And you'll see that that's the process that we go along. So let's see, martial artist. Yeah, I think the cost type is definitely like a weekly cost. Weekly, probably we need to have 1 times like exercise, like a specific like exercise session. So karate. Okay. So daily quest, every week I should be taking a class for martial arts, at least. This is the very least. So steps on research, like what figure out what the specific martial art I want is. Do 3 to 6 months of training. Do I want to actually compete in the competition? I don't know, but we'll probably think about that. Is like, okay, you know, take a class, exam slash do a competition, right? So again, just making sure that I actually am doing these things that I care about. Okay, so I'm gonna go with all my being one first, and then I'll go with my having ones, and then I'll go with doing ones, because I think like that's useful as we keep going along. So leader of a 1 million plus community. So yeah, every day I need to interact with my community. So every day I should reach out. Another thing I should do probably is figure out like, you know, improve the funnel for the community members, right? So user experience, user journey. And then I want to figure out like, I want to probably figure out what the ways I can do to actually probably learn from communities. Okay, we should flip this around. So I want to learn from communities that have reached over 1 million plus members. Learn best practices. Okay, and then improve the funnel for everyone, and then track the progress of, like, track the velocity, and predict when this vision will be obtained or achieved. Right, so then that's the way I'm going to think about that. And again, a lot of the ones that have daily quests, I've already mapped them out to my calendar. I can show you them later, but essentially they have already been done. So another thing is help people level up. Yes, I want to do these things. What's the cost for this? I think the cost is every single day I need to, how about every single day I help someone level up? So every day, every time I have some kind of like level up. So every day I have some kind of like improvements in these 3. So maybe like everyday personal development. Okay. In personal development, I need to, every day I will learn I'll learn or practice a new way to help people level up. So empowering, empower systems, compassion. Learn or practice any way to help people level up. Yeah, I think that's good. So steps now, I think, is like figure out what I do that might block people from leveling up. So I think everyone has a different style of how they want to improve their lives, how they want to level up. Some people might need a lot of, different encouragement. Some people need, facts being sat in their face. But like, I need to understand specifically what about my style may not be helpful, right? And what might be helpful. Also, what do I do that is helpful, right? And conducive to help others level up. I think that's something super important and something that we should definitely consider. So steps tomorrow, what is the step tomorrow that we're going to do? Well, I think that we want to actually take action on that. So get feedback from people that I'm helping to see if what I'm doing is helpful or not. And then finally, I want to say like, okay, on the 3 categories that we are concerned with, right? And then later, then we say, hey, what are the other categories that we need? So then I think the reviewing step is figure out the metric I am aiming for on a day by day basis. So like, what does it mean for me to like be someone like this? And by the way, being is infinite, right? There's no way I'm gonna ever finish being someone that helps people level up, right? So being is infinite. Having is just something that we maintain, and maybe I just call it maintain. And then doing is something that's finite. So I've done these 2 beings already. Smart organized life. What does that mean? Yeah, schedule an hour a week to tidy up my physical and digital space. I think that's important. Steps now is probably I think this lifestyle one probably needs to improve a bit. It's not just smart and organized life, because how does then that connect to having houses, right? Like that doesn't make sense. But like maybe making sure that they're self-sustaining, right? Okay, so smart, organized, self-sustained life. So I think like okay, everything in place has smart, responsive. Everything runs by itself, ideally, right? So I love the idea of like, hey, even my fish tank doesn't need to change water because I have a natural ecosystem inside. How do I do more things like that where I don't need to worry about things like water? Plants should be watered by themselves, so that if I want to keep on adding more things in my life, adding more houses, so to speak, and I want to live in Japan sometime, I want to live in Toronto, I want to live in Vancouver, I want to live in SF, I want to live in Singapore. Like it should be something that it's very easy for me to do, and I want to be able to do that. So this is just for tidying up, right? And tidy up and organize, I think. Tidy up, organize, right? Or smartify my digital physical space. Steps now is figure out where I have a lot of maintenance to do. So for example, like for sure my like files and folders, digital files and folders is horrible. Digital and physical files and folders are horrible. Aside from Notion is like where everything is super clean. But like aside from that, like like photos, I don't know how you guys do it, but like I'm trying to figure out how to like properly store photos and not have them like just crowd a hard drive where I'm not gonna ever see it again. So if you guys have ideas on that, feel free to let me know in the comments. Like that's something I would love to learn, but something that I want to figure out. So example like photos. Steps tomorrow, just clean it up, right? Use my weekly time to clean up. So over time, so that it's not one big project that burns me out. And then next is I want to figure out how to make sure that I can reach things within seconds, not minutes. So one thing that I always felt frustrated by whenever I saw some of my friends or even family members like have to find things, like they go through their phone, it takes them like minutes to like sometimes an hour to like find the thing that they're wanting to show. And I think that's a bit sad. I don't think that I want that life for myself. I think it sucks because, like, it's on to my mind. Oh, it's there. Where is it? Where is it? And honestly, I go through that from time to time as well, especially with photos. So how do I make that process easier? How do I make that, something that is more seamless, more fun, and, less of a, chore to do, right? And more something that is happy for us to do. So I think that's something that's super, super important. So again, water break. Don't forget to drink water, guys. I think we're almost done with beings, so let's go ahead and see what else is there. Yeah, being a smart investor, I think just having a weekly finance block to work on finances/investments. So just having like a slow kind of like a consistent progress, I think it's super important. You can't let go of that. So main thing is steps now immediately is figure out how much capital I have plus burn/earn rates, right? I think that's super important. Steps tomorrow is figure out what opportunities, okay, actually here, and the opportunities that are accessible to me. Then the steps tomorrow is, take action on one or more investment types that I can afford. Then the next day later is see if it's hitting my see how long it might take, or projects how long it will take to reach my milestones. Okay, super easy. World Citizen, I think this one is fun. So every single month, probably, I'm trying to figure out what the exact cost is. Like, I think specifically, like, I think World Citizen is more of a title. I want to call myself, like, I'm a citizen of the world. I live in many places. I can understand a lot of cultures. I know many languages. Like, so these are things that I want, right? So, I think specifically then I also want one thing for lifestyle and for, yeah, to be a polyglot, but I think that's a different thing. I think the language thing I might move out. But definitely every month, like, we might want to do so one like planning. So one explain. So like it's just more like a planning day. So we say every month plan out where I might want to be. That's different still too. I think this one actually is more a daily quest for this new environment. So, but every month now I want to be next. So like have like a general plan and then like work my life around that. And then for World Citizen, see, this is hard. Like this is where I can get like really hard. I'm trying to show you like legitimately like this is not easy, but it's okay, right? Nothing in life that came easy is something that nothing good in life came easy. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. So World Citizen, what does that mean to me, right? It means that I can. Yeah, I think this one needs to be thought about more. Like, I really don't have a very clear idea of being a world citizen, and this might become polyglot, maybe. So maybe this is more like focused on the language. So I'm someone that is polyglot, therefore I know many different languages. Okay, let's just assume that that's something that I want to aspire to and use. So on a weekly level, I'm going to 1 times speech. I think what's really helpful is like practicing my conversational skills. So every week practice a new language. I'm not sure if that's enough though. I really am not sure. So steps now, figure out what languages I want to learn. And the most effective way to learn them. And then the steps tomorrow is practicing them with people that speak the language. I think that's super important. And then steps day later is reviewing it, is go to the country and speak only that language. I think that could be really fun. That could actually be a really, really fun journey. Okay, cool. So then, how do I have things now? Now that I'm being this person, how do I have things? How do I attract these things? So yeah, I put up a daily like team building thing for core team I can trust. So every day, just schedule team building tasks every day. It could be hiring, right? Team building, just like it could be like existing or new members, right? Tasks every day. I have someone that I thought reached out to Sherman Valley as a potential a team member, right? But then I also think that I should be, but also I should put create job. How about this? Create job ads for the types of people I want to work with, and then reach out to Shaman, whoever, identify community members who might be good fits, and then step stay later is then we want to then have weekly scrums to see how we've grown towards our values. Right, so I think that's super important. That's great. That are having is houses in a major country. So these are houses I want. So right now, I think I need to do something on a monthly basis. So I need to do some real estate. So house real estate searching. So let's go ahead and do this. Multiple houses. So the daily quests. So every month, I should. This is my actual action, but steps now is build up a document for okay, now every month I should go house shopping. I should put efforts towards I should block out time for house shopping where I am looking to see if there are available houses to rent for our family without borders. The document for resources that we have. Okay, how about this? I think specifically, this is something I can do because right now I want to focus on Japan. Like I'm really curious. So steps tomorrow then is just visiting different properties in Japan and figuring, and then steps days later is actually renting that place, right? So renting or thinking about the friend and choosing some that we like. And I think actually put pictures on a website so that we can get some waitlist interest. That's great. And then steps days later is we want to then go ahead and figure out if people actually want this, I guess. So then I'll start a Japan house as the next, as a next location for us to open. I think that's something that is going to be very, very interesting. Okay, great. Personal assistant. Yeah, I think this is very, very clear. So my daily quest here is part of the searching team building. As part of the team building task, make sure to dedicate time towards hiring this role. So interview candidates, given test tasks, and then finally hire the best candidate. I think that's over 1 month, over 1 week, 2 months, and then hire the best candidate. I think that's pretty clear. That's awesome. Another thing that's having, I think it's, oh yeah, supportive partner, healthy family. So these are great. So this is actually really fun. I've already planned this out very much. So, what's the cost, right? Again, cost as just like, what does it take for you to get there? So, having dates, doing adventures, having insights with my partner, scheduling time to bond, right? How to make time for each other, figuring out what you want to do together, right? So figuring out what are the things that you actually want to do, creating a framework for weekly, monthly retrospectives. Are you going in the right direction? Creating a focus project, help you understand each other. What's the theme every season? I think that's super clear. Healthy family. So schedule at least 1 hour a week, have a meaningful experience with family, right? Right now, so maybe figure out like, hey, what are experiences that each of my family members care about, right? Then once I figure that out is include them into my week plans so that they can feel and then I want to then add days later is just observe, right, how they are progressing in each category. So I think what's important then is I'm going to categorize as like health, right, passion, growth, and then so this is well-being. So well-being, growth, and then purpose. So I think baseline is I want to help make sure that my family has the well-being managed, right? So they should be healthy and able. Then I want to make sure that they can grow, right? Again, pursuing their best selves in some meaningful way. Then I want to help them get purpose, right? Working on what they love. Again, this all comes hand in hand with the process of helping people level up, right? So ideally they are interlinked. So you be this person, therefore you can get this healthy family that you want. Loving relationship with friends, so having company of considerate people that care for my well-being and growth as well, shares what I have freely without expectation. So maybe 3 times a week I'll have dinner with friends. So 3 times a week have dinner with friends, new friends too. So like we're basically just trying our best to build up the bond. So right now we want to figure out like, hey, organize our network, right, and identify opportunity to make deeper bonds than actually going out and do those bonds, right? Making bonds with our members, making one of our network members, and then finally then seeing like, okay, analyzing, once a month maybe, like, do I feel satisfied with my social circle, right? What about it could change, right? I think that's something interesting. So circle. Oops, I'm not typing that right. Circle. There we go. So that's another thing I can have. Things like having like a certain amount of money in the bank. Again, I just put a number because I think it's something that quite aspirational. But I think for instance here is like values. Being able to buy things without worrying about the cost. So I think that probably doesn't need to be 100 mil, maybe around just 10 mil in the bank, right? But without having to worry about the cost. I don't really need to buy like private planes and whatnot. Like that doesn't make me happy. But like just being able to buy food, things for the house, etc. Right? So house necessities, right? Without worrying about the cost. I think that's generally the most important thing. Being able, so the cost type for this is probably, I don't know. Like I think it comes together with like these investments, right? Actually, these investments probably will lead to these as outcomes, anyways. But I think these ones I have to work a bit more on, honestly, like because I think these smart investors. Oh, I see. Actually. Yeah. So this is more finance orientated. This is more investment orientated. Okay, I'll do this here because I think it's important for people to learn. But basically, schedule a weekly finance block, and then specifically, this is on a monthly basis. yeah, on a monthly basis, check on my one times investments check, health check, right? Investment health check. So every month, check in on my investments to see how they're doing. That makes sense to me. The values of this is have enough passive income to cover any of my spend and have savings. So ideally, passive income should be able to cover what I need. So steps now is I want to then do these things, right? So yeah, this is something like that. So and to project how long it will take is project how long it will take to hit the specific milestone. That's much clearer now. And this one is a cost, which is, I think, yeah, I think on a monthly level, we should figure out P&L. So one times P&L. So we should be figuring out what our P&L is. So once a month, okay, monthly, figure out P&L and how we're doing. I think that's super important. In regards to savings, right? Regards to savings. So steps now is figure out what my savings are actually, right? Yeah, figure out how much capital I do have. Figure out how much capital I have. And the P&L. I guess that's the same as the burn rate. So this is the same exact thing here, I guess. And the important thing is to know how much we are earning to add to our savings. Okay, I think that's important there. Then the next thing is, well, the last thing definitely is like figure out when it'll take to hit our milestone. So that's projecting for sure. We're projecting. And then make sure that we are on a upwards trajectory. Okay, figure out where we can build more lines of income. I think that's important, and then project how long it will take. Yeah, perfect. For this one though, I think like maybe research investors that we admire, learn their mental models, and then probably also like emulate, follow and emulate their decisions and see how it goes, and then probably yeah, I don't know what the next thing is. So I think this one will take some time. I think Smart Investor will take some time for us to work on. But definitely something about market. So emulate decisions, entering market at the same time, I think. Managing own finances, I think we need to figure out how to include that, or do a monthly finance / investment health checkup. Yeah, I think that's something that's super important that I definitely don't do right now, and maybe many of us don't do, so we should. Okay, finally, let's do doing. So doing is super fun for me because doing are now, hey, you have all these resources. What do you do now? How do you do things, right? So yeah, so schedule time to do record videos to outreach. Steps now right now is just more like figure out what videos to create, right? Okay, no, there's a specific thing I need to do. Okay, so just start filming, I think, and start producing. It's the main thing. But the main thing after that is then analyze what is performing well. do more of that. I think that's simple of that. Like if it's performing well, do more of it and then continue. But also at the same time, like figuring out like producing content that I enjoy. So I should ideally enjoy talking about these things, just like I'll enjoy talking these live streams. There's a lot of amazing content here that I'm very happy that I get to share with you guys. So for sure, this is something that I like doing. Loving myself, I think is important. So setting a reminder to love Thursday every single day. So 1 times hearts. Yep. So so the first thing is identify things that you love yourself. Actually, I'll do this. Identify things I do for other people that I can do for myself. I think that's the first thing. And then the next thing is also things that I am waiting, quote unquote, waiting for other people to do for me, right? We always wait. We're always thinking like, how can someone else save me? How can someone else help me in the way that I want to be helped, right? How do you do it for you, right? So then take action on those things. Make a list and take action on those things every day. The next things is figure out like, you know, set specific boundaries on which emotions will make specific boundaries that are set boundaries for yourself, emotional based, and figure out and plan out your reactions. So example is if I am feeling frustrated, what do I do? So I think that's something super important. So I think people look at the feelings wheel and they identify their feelings, but they don't really do anything about it. It's like, okay, yeah, great, you feel frustrated. Great, you feel angry, maybe. You feel, sad, depressed, whatever it might be. What do you do with that information? How do you then live life differently? If someone else in your vicinity is perhaps the influence for that feeling that you have, how do you walk away, right? What do you say? So those are all important things to do. Do my superhuman fit? Yeah, I think this one, I need to work on this more. I don't know what superhuman fit is. I just have this idea, this big idea that I want to do this. So you can see like some things that, you might, for me, I'm not prioritizing that because, hey, I think these two are clear to me. I want to be fit. I want to feel like I can fight, people off if I need to self-defend myself. Doing superhuman fit, maybe not so much right now. So that's something later. Selling a book. Yeah, set writing box. I think interview people who have written amazing books, and then probably steps tomorrow is reach a publisher with the for me, I'm writing a book on gamification, so gamification graph. I guess what do you call it? The summary. And then I think it's just write every day, start writing. So, I guess, okay, make friends with people who have, who are doing the same thing. I think that's something important, actually. Yeah. So yeah, I think last one is new environment every 6 months, or I guess have two traveling partner, new environment 6 months. This one's more like something that you have to do with your partner. So I think this depends on how your partner is, are they able and willing to travel, etc., etc. So I'm not highly prioritizing that right now because that's something that's not within my control. But new environment every 6 months is, so change locations, so geographical, right? Our house every 6 months to learn new things and refresh myself for the new seasons. I think every 3 to 6 months And then, so the cost type for this is definitely a monthly cost. So I think I had this before where every month, yeah, every month find out where I'm going to go next. So 1 times plane. So steps now is definitely uh, identify what in my environment needs to change, what is being stagnant, and then plan out the next location to capitalize on that change. And a step days later is to make sure that after moving, track if that is something that has improved. Perfect. So thanks for joining me on this journey. This is me really just opening up about my life and hopefully giving you guys, your perspective that might be helpful for you to really understand how you can live the life that you really want, live the life that you love, right? And use that as a positive fuel, positive energy for you to really pursue everything that matters to you, matters most, and be happy doing it and never get burned out, ideally, on the way there, and just continuously maintaining your focus and motivation. So thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll definitely be posting a lot more content real soon. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget, be intentional. Bye now.